In the den of iniquity, vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment, what's a pity. Tomorrow never certain, what draws behind the curtain, the face of evil smirking with that shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble, that either pop or topple, many will fall and stumble, let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso, cannons could breach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising, And hearts are compromising, conditions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming, and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances, and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest, and the righteous in your corners.
Hello, hello, hello. Do you struggle with concentration? Do you struggle with distractibility? How does this affect you internally? Does it affect your ability to be in the moment? Does it affect your ability to relax? How does it affect you externally? How does it affect your productivity, your ability to get things done, your efficiency? And also, how is this particular how is our attention hacked? Okay, by the advertisers and the media companies and so on and so on. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get into that, let's get one thing out of the way. Go ahead and click that like button, click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Okay, share the stream. Okay, we're going to break it down today. We're going to be reviewing a video that goes over what we already know, which is there is a way for Instagram, okay, to hack our brain, a way for the casino to hack our brain by pulling that lever on this particular machine with the spinning lights and all that kind of stuff, hitting those dopaminergic centers and also distracting us conveniently, because our ability to be distracted is a fundamental little part of our psyche that cannot be removed, cannot be destroyed. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, how is everybody doing? Let's see what's going on in the chat here. After all, this is a live stream. Okay. Shout out to the people in the chat already. RM, Little Rock, Aaron B in the building. Okay, let's get right into this. Let's start playing this video that basically shows, that talks about attention. Okay. You see, the ability to focus, the ability to concentrate, the ability to pay attention to in this searchlight kind of manner is something that is very critical to us, to our understanding of ourselves. We feel more settled when we're able to concentrate. We feel better when we're able to concentrate, correct? The feeling of distractedness and the feeling of not being able to focus or concentrate is not a good feeling, correct? It tends to go hand in hand with stress, correct? Can I get a one in the chat if that is well understood? Hence, not only is it a question of external productivity and efficiency, there is a question of internal health, stress, mental well being that surround this question of attention, distractibility, focus, concentration, so on and so on. And we know about the stories about how Facebook is hacking you and how everything else is hacking you in order to suck and play with this attention mechanism that runs you, or that you run, that you depend upon, that affects you internally and externally, and so on and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin by playing a little bit of this, okay? And I like the way they start here. Perhaps you're watching this video as a way of distracting yourself from other things you should be doing.
Right now, you might be watching this video distracting yourself from those emails you said you'd get around to doing. And perhaps later you feel guilty for your lack of focus. Well, don't beat yourself up too much. There's a scientific reason for your distractibility. A study carried out by scientists at Princeton University and the University of California, Berkeley, concluded that our brains refocus our attention 4 times every single second.
Well, our brains have limited processing resources, meaning that we can't simultaneously process all the information in our complex environment at the highest level. Instead, the brain has developed a collection of mechanisms that determine which aspects of the environment should receive preferential processing. And this collection of mechanisms is referred to as attention.
Okay, so first problem, and I don't know if you noticed, but I'm going to start again. But the first problem I noticed with this is the whole idea that because you can describe something means that it is okay. Because something happens means that's the way it ought to be. I believe it's called the ontological fallacy, or basically mistaking an is for ought also. Mistaken is for out there. But basically, them saying, hey, you know, are you distracted? It's okay. Here's some science to make you feel better about it. I don't know. I don't know if anyone catches that feeling, but it's just a feeling that I get when people say things like this. But let's hear that again.
Of focus. Well, don't beat yourself up too much. There's a scientific reason for your distractibility.
Ooh, there's a scientific reason.
A study carried out by scientists at Princeton University and the University of California, Berkeley, concluded that our brains refocus our attention 4 times every single second.
Well, our brains have limited processing resources, meaning that we can't simultaneously process all the information in our complex environment at the highest level. Instead, the brain has developed a collection of mechanisms that determine which aspects of the environment should receive preferential processing. And this collection of mechanisms is referred to as attention. My name is Ian Fiepelkorn. I'm a neuroscientist at Princeton University. The mechanism of attention that is most often studied is spatial attention, where we boost the processing of a specific location.
That's the process our brains go through when we, for example, walk into a room at a party. There's an enormous amount of information in this space, lots of people, their faces, clothing, where they're standing. The list is endless. We are phenomenally good at processing this data, but not all at once. Our brains
Let's watch the party again.
process our brains go through when we, for example, walk into a room at a party. There's an enormous amount of information in this space, lots of people, their faces, clothing, where they're standing. The list is endless. We are phenomenally good at processing this data, but not all at once. Our brain sifts this information into levels of importance. What we need to know now, what can wait till later, and what can be dismissed entirely.
Spatial attention has often been compared to a spotlight that continuously scans the environment, stopping or pausing to illuminate behaviorally relevant aspects of the environment or locations. The classic view of spatial attention, or this metaphorical spotlight, is that the strength of that spotlight is...
Okay, so far we get it. So far it's saying, look, it's like a spotlight, right? It's got to go from place to place, okay? And also there's a refocusing of our attention that he's going to get into right now, whereby the spotlight dims and rises in illumination and brightness, okay? Like a little fluctuation, like a sine wave, like a wave, exactly, like a fluctuation. It's getting dim, it's flickering. The spotlight flickers, okay? So far, explanations, they may be interesting, and we'll get to how the capitalism is that, of course, capitalism is going to hack into this, because basically capitalism is the force of the market that will find a way to get the dollars out of your pocket. I'll find a way to get the dollars out of your pocket by any means necessary. Just about. But anyways, the spotlight, we understand, okay? The fact that there's limited resources in the brain, and hence there's this such a thing as focusing, which basically means you put something in the foreground and then you drop things in the background, right? It's like to focus a camera. You focus a camera, the thing in the front is sharp, things in the back. Whether you're doing a physical activity, whether you're doing a mental activity, whether you're trying to feel also at peace, the ability to focus, the ability to concentrate is very important. Whether it's a math problem or you're chopping down trees. So let's continue with this.
Is continuous. However, our work has shown that instead, the spotlight seems to be dimming 4 times per second.
So when we think we're giving something our full attention, we're still distractible, almost constantly.
And so the question is, why would that be? We've proposed that this dimming of our metaphorical spotlight prevents us from becoming overly focused on any single location in the environment. It provides these windows of opportunity when it's easier to disengage from the presently attended location and shift our attention to another location or aspect of the environment. There's a network of brain regions that directs this metaphorical spotlight of spatial attention. Within this network, there's what we refer to as neural oscillations. And so basically, it's like a sine wave, right? There are peaks and there are troughs. And you can conceptualize these sine waves in your brain, or these, it's just a wave, right? The peaks of that are like high.
We get it? Do we get it? And I think that we can experience this, okay? Because what I like to focus on is actually what we can verify mostly through our experience, through our subjective experience. And this is another one of those kinds of videos, my master your subjective consciousness type soliloquy. However, we understand that, hey, even if I'm focusing on the flame, okay, I put a flame right in front of me, or I'm holding a mouse right in front of me, okay, and I'm focusing on it. The focus is not a continuous stream of equal intensity, right? The focus is not a continuous stream of intensity. There is a flickering to the focus, okay? Now, is that something that we can verify, or am I just off on a limb here? Can I get a one in the chat? If you holding that mouse or imagining that flame that you're looking at, and if you're focusing on just on visual concentration, not using your ears and other things, but that you can also talk about your ears, focusing on a particular sound, that it doesn't feel like a continuous intensity light that you're focusing, that there is a dimming and a lighting and a dimming and a lighting. There is a wave aspect to the experience, a cyclical aspect to the experience. And here are some correlates, some data, some waves that some people are going to show you on the screen saying, look, the neurons are firing in such and such a way that correlate with this particular experience that we have, right? But so far, so good. Okay, so far, so good. We haven't heard anything that we do not know yet. And this is not still answer your question of how do you deal with the problem of concentration affecting you both internally and externally. It's affecting you internally because it affects your ability to relax. The being distracted is not a relaxed state. It affects your ability to be in the moment. It raises your stress level a little bit. It also affects you externally in terms of, shall we say, productivity, efficiency, and whatnot. And also, it can be hacked. It can be hacked, which is something that we'll get into. And then what are we going to do about all this? Okay, this is just another video that's just going to go out there and say, hey, look at the scientific reasons why this is happening. Therefore, you just relax. Okay, it's okay that they're hacking you dopaminergically, but what are you going to do about it? Or just turn off your phone. The point is, and let me state my case here as we go on, and this is not going to be a long video. My claim is that the fact that you're scrolling through Instagram is just a symptom. The fact that you are distracted and what the things that you do with your phone and the things that are distracting you, whether it be Facebook, whether it be P-Hub or Instagram, okay? Those things are just symptoms. Whether or not you get rid of the symptoms or get rid of the triggering points is not going to solve the fundamental problem. The fundamental root cause is internal, which we'll get to in a second here, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, go ahead and click that like button.
Excitability states. That means that the neurons are really ready to fire. And so if a visual stimulus happens to occur at that peak when the neurons are ready to fire, you're more likely to detect that visual stimulus. And if it happens instead at a trough where the neurons are less ready to fire, you're more likely to miss that stimulus.
The study shows for the first time that our brains are constantly alternating between two different states, one that is associated with focus and one that's associated with distractibility.
Through our evolution, again, you could see how this could be to our advantage, right, in a survival mode where you're...
This dude gets a bad rap, right? This, everyone can see the screen, right? And here comes this dude. And for those who are watching, we know the typical kind of like caveman. Let's call him the caveman, right? Caveman gets a bad rap. He gets bad publicity, okay? And I think that Geico, which was a commercial that did that whole caveman thing, they really focused on the caveman thing. So easy a caveman can do it, right? So easy a caveman can do it. And then they would have cavemen, protesting against, the bad rap that cavemen get. But I think, this guy's getting a bad rap, showing him over here looking all bummed out. But anyways, okay, the idea of you want to be able to concentrate, but you don't want to be locked in, right? You don't want to get lockjaw. Does that make sense? You don't want to be locked in. So basically, you want to concentrate and then get distracted. Concentrate and get distracted. That's the idea of that dimming of the light and the brightening of the light. That sine wave, which we just saw, the cyclical nature that we said we can experience. in terms of our consciousness, that it is not a single continuous floodlight of intensity, okay, or spotlight of intensity. It's not that. That is brightens up and dims. And it makes sense. You don't want to get locked in on the fruit that you're looking at and not understand that there's a lion behind you, right? So you need the spotlight to be able to find the fruit on the trees. These fruits are spots of, let's say, red or yellow, these colors that we are, we can spot, if you will, right? So we spot these colors, and it is evolutionarily beneficial for fruit to be spotted because that way it can transport its seed, right? It has the animals spotted with your spotlights. We spotlight that stuff, and that's important. But while we're spotlighting, it's also important for us to be able to shake away from getting locked in on fruit and be able to hear that there's an animal behind us, right? So there's this dimming and, shall we say, brightening of the light, and we understand it. And we also understand the mechanisms of limitedness, that hence it has to be a spotlight. There's limited resources, right? You can't just floodlight the whole thing and take it all in. It's not possible. So far, so good, okay? We still haven't gotten to the fact of how this is hacked. We still haven't gotten to the fact of how whether or not you get rid of your phone, that's not really the problem. The problem is internal, and you need to fix that. Ladies and gentlemen, click the like button, share the stream. Thank you.
You're out foraging, there might be a predator, and you don't want to miss that predator because you're overly focused on the task at hand. But in a modern office environment, those distractions aren't critical to your survival. They're just keeping you from being able to focus on something you need to do. And so something that helped us through evolution could be hurting us in another context.
In both our work and personal lives, various technologies are vying for our attention, and the current pandemic has only made this more apparent. In order to do our jobs and continue an active social life, we rely on these devices more than ever.
Who are these losers partying partying on Zoom? Okay, it's okay. I mean, no judgment, no judgment. If you did it, you can confess.
Technologies are vying for our attention, and the current pandemic has only made this more apparent.
So this is a regular meeting, okay? This is legitimate, okay? This one on the screen right now, this is legitimate, regular meeting, okay? Everyone is powering through.
In order to do our jobs and continue an active social life, we rely.
Then what's going on here? What are these cats? Okay, well, let's not get distracted.
Rely on these devices more than ever. The very thing that was designed to aid our productivity is in fact doing the opposite. And that's no accident. So how have companies optimized products to take advantage of our inherent distractibility?
Of course, when it comes to our technology, the same mechanic of pulling on a slot machine in a casino is also at work when it comes to scrolling a feed. It's the same exact psychology of a variable reward.
You heard that? You heard that? You heard that? It's something that says, hey, look, poke this thing around and it'll make a different noise every time. Okay. Scroll and you'll get some kind of new pictures and new colors and new faces on Instagram. Push this button and you'll get this spinning slot machine action. Okay. We get it. Okay. And we'll sit there poking the thing if it keeps on giving us some new stimuli to distract us. Because distractibility is something we can get addicted to because life has actual problems, does it not, Aaron B? Okay? Life has actual problems, does it not, Chaos Reign? Life has issues that you actually have to deal with, issues that you have to actually spend time concentrating on. And if you can get into the zone of pushing your distractibility button and use the phone as a means of pushing your distractibility button, okay, the phone with the Facebook and the social media and all these other things which we understand. If you're using those as a means of pushing your distractibility button, then that is the nature of this addiction here. That is the nature of being addicted to distraction, okay? So now we see and we get it. We know what this is. We all understand this. We all participate, all been hooked. We all get how this thing flows. Now, I said earlier when they said that, look, science has given you an excuse, that's not a good thing. So what is to be done? Okay. What is to be done? They're going to tell you a few things in a moment, and I'm going to disagree with those solutions that they're going to give you. Okay. All right. So we have a clear understanding of the problem. I'm saying there's an addiction to distraction. This addiction to distraction can be hacked by quote unquote capitalism. We understand it by the marketplace. We participate in it. We are the marketplace, right? We are this capitalist beast that is going out there pushing the dopamine button, pushing the cocaine button. We are that rat. Okay. Now, let us continue and let's see some of the solutions that they offer. Okay. Having described the problem of the spotlight, describe the problem of the dimming or the use of the dimming and the brightening of the spotlight, and then giving us some examples here that we understand about how distractibility can be addictive. Okay. Let's take a couple of steps back and see where we are. Ladies and gentlemen,
The
one more
same
time,
mechanic of pulling on a
like the
slot
video.
machine in a casino is also at work when it comes to scrolling a feed. It's the same exact psychology of a variable reward.
This is Nir Eyal. He's a behavioral designer and best-selling author. His 2013 book, Hooked, advised companies how to make habit-forming products. 6 years later, he released Indistractable, which offers a way for those of us who found themselves habitually using a product to take back control.
Today, because of the data that is being collected on us as we use these tools, we are manufacturing the products in real time based on the data we give these companies. You are investing in the service, giving it data to customize the experience just for you. For the first time, products no longer depreciate. If you think about it, when a consumer buys a product, that product loses value with
Again, through this feedback loop where you give the social media information about you. What is that information? Information is about information about your use, information about where your eye stops, where you stop and scroll, where you click, okay, what gets your attention. And then this gets tailor made to you. And you're part of this deal here. You're part of this dance here. You are not necessarily blindly being taken advantage of, okay? Now, this is my position. Okay. It is a debatable position. However, maybe some of you can answer the question in the chat or in the comments below. What do you think about this position that, well, Instagram is taking advantage of me, Facebook is taking advantage of me, WhatsApp is taking advantage of me, YouTube is taking advantage of me. But no, YouTube is just kind of a product that is studying you and giving you more of what you want. Okay. Hence my case that YouTube is just a symptom. Facebook, Instagram, your phone is just a symptom. It's not the cause. People who tell you to go lock up your phone and have meetings without phones and do this other thing, and people who tell you to control your external environment with regards to this problem, I believe, are mistaken. And we will continue. Again, this is about getting ish done, ladies and gentlemen, which we understand is the primary focus here. We're about being and doing better with a strong emphasis on doing. So we know the ability to focus, the ability to concentrate, the ability to pull into the foreground and spotlight things is very important, whether we are carving a piece of wood, we're throwing a free throw, solving a mathematical problem, playing a difficult piece on the piano, whatever it may be. We understand the importance of this thing, okay? Let's continue. They're yet to give us the solutions, but so far I've said two things. Number one, there is an addiction to distraction, and we understand how it works. Number two, the solution is internal.
with usage, with wear and tear. It depreciates. But habit forming products should do the opposite. They actually appreciate because they store value the more they are used. So if you think the world is distracting today, just wait a few years. This trend is not reversing. These tools are here to stay, and if anything, the world will become a more distracting place in the years to come. As we have the confluence of more data transmitted at faster speeds and greater accessibility to these tools, that means that if you are looking for distraction, then distraction you will find.
And there lies perhaps what may be point number three, which is this whole, it is what you're looking for, okay? Now, we have certain tendencies that contradict each other, and that's not a problem, okay? In other words, we want freedom to choose distraction, don't we? A Hill, Aaron B, Sec Amethyst. We want to be able to choose. We like autonomy. We want to be able to say, hey, I want a banana or not. Also, we also want to be catered to and curated and managed like sheep, right? We also want to be saved from our bad tendencies by daddy, or the state, or the big corporations, or big pharma, or the president, or whatever it may be. God, the angels, your guru, Grant Cardone, Ike. Maybe you think Ike's going to save you. I don't know. However, these things contradict each other, right? So, in understanding these inherent contradictions and trade offs, okay, shout out to Mr. Thomas Sowell, okay, him popularizing that whole idea of there are no solutions, there's only trade offs. Understanding, look, you want this freedom, you want to be able to have some autonomy, you want to be able to choose. Okay. But then you're like, why did you give me all that sugar that I asked for? You are not supposed to give me the sugar when I asked for the sugar. Okay. Now, let's be fair and let's understand, let's be adults in the room about the parts that we play, how we participate, where we signed on to this.
Come. As we have the confluence of more data transmitted at faster speeds and greater accessibility to these tools, that means that if you are looking for distraction, then distraction you will find. So if there's one thing I want people to remember when it comes to distraction, it's that the antidote to impulsiveness is forethought. So if you have the chocolate cake on the fork and it's on its way to your mouth, it's too late. If you're about to take a puff of that cigarette and the cigarette is lit in your hand, you've lost. If you're sleeping next to your cell phone inches from your bed, they're going to get you because it's too late.
I disagree with this. This is the whole premise here that I'm disagreeing with. I'm saying it doesn't matter if the cell phone is there or not there. Okay? I'm saying that the solution is internal, and that all these attempts to control the external environment may force us to deal with the problem squarely at the beginning, but healthy means you're able to have the cell phone. Okay? Now, tell me if I'm a little bit crazy here. But healthy means you have the cell phone on the side of your bed, but you don't look at it. Or you look at it and you know the trade-off that you're in. Okay? Healthy is this, again, imaginary landscape where you have maximal amount of choice in the matter and also maximum amount of responsibility. And you have the ability to control your urge. Okay? Because before you pick up the phone, I agree that the solution is before you pick up the phone. But I don't agree that the solution is to go and hide the phone. Okay? I don't know what we think about this. People give us these ideas about, put the phone over here, lock this thing over there, put one hand behind your back and jump around 3 times at noon. Okay? That is, I'm like, look. That's not where it's at. We know that's not where it's at. We know that's not where it's at because we can sit with ourselves and know where the issue arises from. We know the beginnings of this kind of, I don't want to focus on something. I'm going to find something to distract myself with, whether it be chocolate milk or Instagram or YouTube, or by doing some other menial task, which is unimportant or irrelevant, not as urgent, and so on and so on. Okay? This idea that, hey, the problem is in your phone, the problem is with Mark Zuckerberg, the problem is with Facebook, is just a way of telling you, hey, you're still powerless. And by the way, Mark Zuckerberg and your phone are just going to continue to do the thing that they're going to do to you anyways, because we know that that's what you want. So it's a perfect little out. Okay? A Hill wants some sugar. I give her sugar. And then I tell her, hey, blame the sugar person. Blame you can blame me for giving you sugar. I'm bad, right? And then A Hill's like, yeah, you're bad. Give me more sugar, right? I give her more sugar. I was like, oh man, I'm really bad. And then A Hill gets to feel good and righteous while having sugar, killing herself. Same thing, Instagram or whatever it may be. These things are learning your behavior, giving you what you want. That is the idea. However, it makes us feel good to be able to point to those things and say, they're the enemy. And then we start to try to control the external environment by hiding the phone or burning the book. But the problem is internal and the solution is internal. And we'll get to that more and more in a second. But we're developing the idea as we go along. We've seen how this searchlight operates, the searchlight of attention, this very, very important searchlight of concentration and focus. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue.
However, there's no algorithm, there's no consumer psychology principle, there's nothing that these products can do that can't be prevented with taking steps in advance. Simple things like turning off notifications, which 2/3 of people with a smartphone never do. Things like changing our desktop on our computer to make sure that there's less distraction on our devices. Things like changing distraction in the workplace. We know that as much as we blame technology for distracting.
Okay, so I think we found a nice little list here. And this is a list that, shall we say, says turning off notifications, cleaning up your computer desktop, minimizing distraction in your workplace. So there's a certain kind of common sense aspect to this. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, look, okay, if your workplace is a pigsty, okay, I have a nice organized kind of workplace here. If I could show the 360 degrees, where I got my stand-up desk and my sit-down desk, and I always talk about being able to switch from location to location and still be able to do different, still be able to do work, because your body just doesn't want to just be sitting all the time or standing all the time, looking at a screen all the time or using a pen all the time. It wants to be able to sit, have some coffee, or lay down and draw on a pad or something like that. So organizing your life in a way that aids your productivity is key. Okay, why am I going back here? We're going back here because we're getting practical now. We're getting practical as to, well, what exactly does your distractibility do to you externally, pragmatically, productivity wise, efficiency wise? Okay, and they're saying, hey, look, arrange your environment such that you're going to be more efficient. That's the most that I will give to this list. This list is not going to stop you from being distracted. This is just me telling you to clean up your room. Okay. But cleaning up your room, I'm going to assume you've already done. Let's assume that you've turned off notifications and, cleaned up your desktop and all that kind of stuff. This is not going to remove distraction or distractibility, or it's not going to increase your familiarity with the thing that gets you distracted. It's not going to increase your ability to control that thing that comes to you and pushes you over, your ability to resist the temptation, your ability to recognize the temptation, your ability to operate within that space where you have full responsibility again. You're actually dealing with yourself in real time. How do you actually be in the moment versus saying, I'm going to turn off my notifications, clean up my desktop? Well, how do you actually be in the moment? I'm going to grant you that these things are important, but these are just don't live in a pigsty. Obviously, don't live in a pigsty. Now what? Now what am I going to do about the fact that I'm still distractible, that I'm still unable to focus? Let's continue.
Devices. Things like changing distraction in the workplace. We know that as much as we blame technology for distracting us, one of the greatest.
You must have. Ladies and gentlemen, and don't be scared of the super chat. Go ahead and support the stream whichever way you can. Okay, let's see.
Sources of distraction in the workplace is the open floor plan office.
Oh.
So acknowledge.
Is it me then? Is it me? Is it you? But I think we get the point, right? We get the point of this idea of the external, controlling the external world. Pardon me while I exchange my earpiece here. It's just trying to control the symptoms, or trying to blame the coke dealer for your problem. You're blaming the coke dealer for your problem, blaming the sugar dealer for your problem. And I don't think I don't think that as adults that's fair. When I say fair, I mean it's not fair to you insofar as you're trying to solve your problem. It's not fair to you insofar as you're trying to gain some responsibility, accountability, control. Again, because health is a place where you understand that you can reach out to that cocaine dealer, or your cell phone in this case, right? But you deal with your urge to do so, as opposed to blaming the phone, or locking the phone, or burning the book, or despising the dealer. you deal with your urge to be able to. Because we do this very contradictory thing where we ask for the sugar and then we blame the sugar dealer.
Acknowledging the fact that distraction has been around forever and that people have been getting distracted well before these modern tech tools indicates to us that the source of the distraction is not the technology. That's simply the proximal cause. That's the symptom, not the root cause. The real cause of distraction is that most distraction starts from within us. And our desire to escape an uncomfortable sensation like boredom, anxiety, uncertainty, stress, fatigue.
Do we recognize this now? Because the guy in here at the end came in and is making my argument. Okay. We snuck up on the argument, which is basically, look, you can talk about Facebook distracting you all you want. It's not Facebook's fault. Or Facebook is basically a symptom. If you understand what the root cause of your inability to deal with your anxieties, your fears, yourself in the moment, undistracted, your ability to deal with yourself in the moment, undistracted. There are feelings in your body that you're trying to hide away from. There are images in your head that you're trying to hide from. There's talk in your head that you're trying to hide from.
The root cause. The real cause of distraction is that most distraction starts from within us. And our desire to escape an uncomfortable sensation like boredom, anxiety, uncertainty, stress, fatigue, this is the real source of distraction.
Boredom, anxiety, stress, fatigue. These are, okay, we're going to get to that. This for the last few minutes here of the video, okay, for the last few minutes here of our time. And let's talk about what this actually feels like, what this actually is that makes us distracted, because that way we can stop talking about, oh, I got to lock up the phone, or I got to, don't think about elephant, don't think about elephant, don't think about elephant, don't think about elephant. No, that doesn't work. You're going to be thinking about elephant. So, what exactly is the sensation of anxiety in the moment? And we're going to make it concrete in the sense that let's not talk about these abstractions, right? I think last week or a week and a half ago, we talked about the word ugh, UGH, that feeling of frustration. What exactly does that feel like? And then we broke it down. We said that has a certain feeling on your shoulders where you want to curves your shoulders in, okay? And makes your breathing shallow. So what exactly does I want to be distracted feel like to you? In the chat, can anyone share? Does anyone want to hop on the panel right now and tell me, what do you feel? Okay, I'm gonna drop the link. Okay, as I said, I don't want this one to be a long one, but I have a simple question for you, and come in if you have an answer to the question. What do you feel when you're distracted? Right? What exactly does it feel like when you want to escape and look at the phone? You want to escape and do something else. Scroll. Watch another video. Look up something else. Open up another tab. What does that feel like? Okay. Shout out to Atonement at Ornament with the very, very, very generous super sticker. Super sticker. So, and that's good. I see responses in the chat here saying it feels guilty. You see, Amethyst, I'm talking about why you're distracted. What does it feel like to be distracted? Not what you feel like after you got distracted and now you feel bad about being distracted. What does it feel like to be distracted? What exactly moved you to stop the task you were supposed to be doing and then forced you somewhere else? Because look, when this guy speaks here, we claim that we know what he's saying. We claim that we know what he's saying when he says that we're trying to run away from something and we're trying to hide from something, and it feels like stress, uncertainty, anxiety. Okay. We're trying to hide from our problems. What does hide from my problems feel like? Not what you feel about it later, not some kind of an idea about it. What does it actually feel like in the moment?
Real cause of distraction is that most distraction starts from within us. And our desire to escape an uncomfortable sensation like boredom, anxiety, uncertainty, stress, fatigue, this
Uncomfortable sensation, Amethyst. Uncomfortable sensation, Ahil. What is that uncomfortable sensation? That is the question. What is the uncomfortable sensation that pushes you towards the distraction? Because you're trying to hide away from something that represents to you the moment. The moment, okay, is a set of feelings in your body, images in your head, and talk in your head, insofar as you're present. And also you are experiencing the external world. These are senses, sensations, external sensations, internal sensations. And then you have images and you have talk in your head. Maybe it's image and talk in your head about why you're a loser and why this thing you're trying to start is not going to work. Hey, you know what? Why even try writing this book? Why even try starting this company? It's not going to work anyway, right? That may be a certain kind of thing in your head that is bugging you and that makes you run and not do the thing you're trying to do. But what does that also feel like in the body? Are you actually relaxed? No, you're not relaxed because you're not concentrated. And then hence that whole issue again of this ability to concentrate being very closely tied to your mental health. Because when you're not concentrated, this is not a good feeling I'm asking you to describe, is it, Amethyst? It's not a good feeling I'm asking you to describe. Hence, I guess why we are so unfamiliar with the feeling and we are so distracted that we don't even know what it feels like. We don't even know what we're running away from. We don't even know anymore. We're so used to the distractions that we don't even know what that monster underneath the bed is, that monster in the closet is, that deep, dark corner alley of your psyche is, that fear, that anxiety, that uncertainty, whatever it is. We have not explored it at all. We've not looked at the abyss at all, that we don't even know what we're running away from. Such is what I seek to address. Such is what I seek to change. Amethyst, that's a very good one. The feeling of numbness. Watch out for numbness. In other words, whenever you feel numb, that's a bad sign. Okay? Actually, the fact that you're able to recognize this sensation means you're already doing good work. You're already in a good place. We have arrived at this place where, number one, we're saying we're not going to blame the sugar dealer for our sugar addiction. We're not going to blame the phone for the fact that we want to be distracted. Okay, that's a long step, big step we've taken. Now we're going to take the easy, common step sense, which is even a harder step, to look at what we actually feel like when we're distracted so we can deal with it. And if we're able to even see anything, which Amethyst is if anyone knows what numbness mean, can we put a 1 in the chat? The numb feeling that Amethyst is saying, because she's saying, look, like when I feel that kind of distracted and boredom and something like that, it feels kind of numb. In other words, there's no it's not butterflies in your stomach, right? Butterflies in your stomach, good or bad, that's not what you're feeling. You feel numb. It's not electricity going up and down your spine. No, it's none of that. You don't feel anything. You feel just numb. Okay. And guess what? This numbness goes hand in hand with one the favorite thing which I always point out is you're going to notice a shallowness of your breathing. Have you noticed that, Amethyst, that when you track your body in this state of distraction, in this state of you doing some silliness, in this state of you asking for sugar that you're going to blame the sugar dealer for later, in this state of looking at Instagram and scrolling, that there is a shallowness of breathing that goes with that numbness, and you're not really in a state where you feel like you just did a 5K run or something. Well, or at least did a nice little 30-minute cardio workout where you're huffing and puffing, blood is flowing, you feel sensations in your body. No, you don't feel sensations in your body. So what do you do about that. You don't blame the phone. What you do about that is you get sensations going in your body. Does that sound crazy? Does that sound crazy? Amethyst is saying, yes, I'm correct. The breathing is shallow goes along with the numbness of your body in those states. Okay? We're not going to blame the devil. What does it feel like to be in a state of temptation is what we're saying. What pushes you over? Okay? And these are actual things that you can locate in your body, the numbness, the shallowness of breathing. Okay, cool. Increase the depth of your breathing. Get up and walk around. Do something, okay? And that will help almost 100% of the time. It may not be all you need to do because this is only a beginning. The physical aspect is only a beginning. But the physical aspect is the first thing that you have access to. The noticing what your body is doing is one of the easiest things to notice. So notice, first of all, Amethyst said something about how she feels later on about being distracted, that she feels like a loser. Okay. And even the feeling like a loser is still just an abstraction. What does it actually feel to feel like a loser? Is this feeling like a loser feel numb? No, feeling like a loser will also make your breathing shallow, but it'll have maybe a little bit of a sinking sensation in the stomach, that kind of a gut feeling, loser type. And then there'll be if you're standing up, you'll be hunched over, your shoulder will be caved in. That's what feeling like a loser feels like. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, not to be distracted from the root cause of the video and the root cause of our distractibility, the root cause of our inability to focus, which is affecting us internally by giving us this stress, by giving us this unease, by giving us this inability to focus on this thing which we need to focus on. Rather, we are distracted. What are we running from? We're running from this anxiety and unease, this feeling of being in the moment, this feeling of not really wanting to be with ourselves. We're not comfortable in our own skin. We're trying to run away from this stuff. It is not the phone's fault. As long as you're not comfortable in your own skin, it doesn't matter what the phone is doing or not doing, or what Mark Zuckerberg is doing, or Instagram, or Facebook, or YouTube, or whatever it may be. You cannot keep on blaming the sugar dealer.
The root cause. The real cause of distraction is that most distraction starts from within us. And our desire to escape an uncomfortable sensation like boredom, anxiety, uncertainty, stress, fatigue, this is
The beauty of this thing is that this is all there is to it. In other words, it doesn't get outside of this box. This is the box. All that other stuff about, well, science says, or Mark Zuckerberg did, that's just distraction. You're distracting yourself from the problem that you have with distraction. You're distracting yourself from your addiction to distraction by talking about the science and talking about what Mark Zuckerberg is doing. What you know and what you can do is to notice what exactly you are running from when you run to Mark Zuckerberg. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? Oh yeah, virtual reality will definitely take us way, way away. However, I do think there is hope. Okay, I do think there is hope because what I'm exploring here with these master your subjective consciousness videos, these long soliloquies of looking within and asking the repeated question, what does it feel like? Talking about feelings in your body all the time, is because when you remove yourself from saying things such as, oh, I felt weird, or it felt strange, or I felt bad, when you remove yourself from that level to the level of my breathing was shallow and I felt numb, that is a huge leap because you have not gotten to a place where you can do something about it. You can do something about shallow breathing. And guess what? When you actually can we all just pause? Can we pause and take just a deep, long breath? Full, and then just relax and let it out. Don't force it out. Just let the shoulders relax, let the neck relax. Give me a 1 if that made a difference. Give me a 1 if that shifted your ability to kind of be in the moment. Give me a 1 if that breath you just took shifted your ability to be more in the moment, more present, more in touch, more aware of what your body is doing, and more aware of the impact that the state of your breathing is actually having in your current mood, more aware of the impact that that shallow breathing leads to Instagram scrolling. You see, the beauty of this is it's not no crazy mumbo jumbo Deepak Chopra, Umar Johnson craziness BS that you have to go up some mountain. No, it's not there. It's never there. It's never there. It's always right in front of your face. And it's always the question is, why don't you do it? Is always the real question, not how. And the science. I'm going to study the science of it. And I'm going to talk about what Mark Zuckerberg is doing to hack my dopaminergic system. The question is right in front of you. And as to the fact that when you shift from just using vague words to describe your experience and you get down to the fact that your experience is actually in your body. Let me repeat that. When you shift from using vague words to describe your experience and get to the fact that your experience is actually in your body, things change from a responsibility and accountability standpoint. First of all, you can't be blaming when you just noticed what you can do with your breathing, and it's your breathing that is shallow. Your breathing was shallow. You were distracted. That's why you yelled at the person in the parking lot. It was your breathing. You're the one that's responsible for this machine. Okay, this particular machine, adult supervision, the particular spec that you were given, spec number, adult supervision. Okay, that particular meat machine, it's your responsibility. You don't get to come in and tell us that, oh, it was Mark Zuckerberg when it was your goddamn breathing all along. You don't come to tell us that it was the sugar dealer or the cocaine dealer or the Instagram dealer when it was your inability to actually deal with your addiction to distraction, your inability to actually know that your experience is in your body and therefore deal with your experience as a bodily phenomenon, right? Rather than saying strange things like it's some kind of a spiritual matter, like you don't know where you are or what these feelings are like or where they came from. I don't know what happened. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I felt. We're always talking about ourselves in the past tense. We're always talking about ourselves as something that happened and not necessarily even locating the happening in the right location. You don't locate it in your heartbeat. You locate it in some kind of weird place about like waking up on the wrong side of the bed rather than I woke up and I noticed a numbness on my left side. Okay. There was a creak on my neck. Okay. My breathing was shallow. And I think that there was a little bit of a lower hip pain. Okay. If you pay attention, that's what waking up on the wrong side of the bed actually is. It is something in your body that is actually you're experiencing. And then this feeds images in your mind. Maybe now you're upset with somebody, and then these images go to your head, okay? And you're seeing flashes of red or whatever it may be, which then feed back to your body. And then you do other things like clench your fist or all these other kinds of things, which we understand. We understand these things, but we want to blame Mark Zuckerberg, okay? We understand these things, but want to blame Mark Zuckerberg. So I didn't want to make this too long. I've already made it too long, ladies and gentlemen. I've already made it too long, right? But I think it is clear. Join me tomorrow with Dr. Thunder, okay, where we're going to be talking about getting ish done. We're getting more practical. But today I wanted to come on and talk about this very important aspect of our subjective experience, which is attention, concentration, that spotlight, and then the distractibility. We started out by saying, look, there is a scientific explanation for this. There's limited resource, so you have to have this kind of a spotlighting. And also you have to be able to find those fruit out there and those things. But also you want to be distractible so that while you're spotting the fruit with your spotlight, you don't get eaten because you're so zoned in on the fruit that you cannot be distracted by something else. So distractibility and ability to spotlight and pay attention is key. And then we said, hey, look, practically we understand this. We know that it's very important. We know that Internally, it affects us. For our ability to stay concentrated is a good feeling. When we are not concentrated, it's a bad feeling. It's that simple. Okay. Chronic stress is associated with this distractedness. It's that simple. Chronic stress will then lead to all kinds of chronic diseases down the line. Okay? Or chronically caused diseases down the line. Okay? But we cannot just keep on blaming the people who are tapping into these things, because we are the ones that ask for the sugar. We ask, hey, cell phone, distract me. Why did we ask the cell phone to distract us? There was something we were feeling. It was in our body. We just did a simple breathing exercise. We took one breath. We all recognize that that brought us more to the present, insofar as we are aware of our body as being the locus of the attention, the locus of the problem, the center, that is the location of the problem, right? That is the beginning and the end of it all, ladies and gentlemen. But in there lies all the many, many mysteries. But the point is, the more you get distracted from this point and you start focusing on what quote unquote science and what the neuroscientists said today about my brain chemistry and the firing of my neurons and the blah, blah, blah. Nobody gives a crap about that, okay? Nobody gives a crap about that. Insofar as you're serious about treating yourself as a responsible adult and you want to actually make changes in how you are able to engage with the world and your mental health and your long-term productivity, longevity, and everything, then you have to understand and look at your body as the locus of the goings on. As Wagwan in here. So thank you very much. $10 super chat in the building. Practitioner says, my fave talks from Ike. Yes. So every once in a while, at least once a week, we'll do our hashtag MISC talk, the Master Your Subjectiveness talk. And we're just taking them in bite sizes, you see. And just a side talk here to since you brought up this thing. I have a playlist on meditation, okay? I have a playlist on meditation. If you want to get hit with like this kind of PhD thesis level big tomes, 5 volumes on why you should meditate and 5 volumes on how you should meditate. Okay. But after I did that, I realized that, okay, well, that's crazy. That's fine, you know, to kind of establish there in the library. But that is 5 massive volumes of work. Too much stuff in there. Too much implied. Too abstract. Too deep. Already assuming too much of somebody. But if we can take it on this level where we look at just one thing, such as concentration, and look at one aspect in which it is hacked by capitalism in this case, we can simply just focus and end up taking one breath and realizing, hey, that in here lies a lot of power. In here, in mastering of ourselves, in noticing that the problem is internal and the problem is not with the dealer, lies a lot of power and lies a lot of work to be done. So actually, at the end of the day, practitioner, I can make like 1,000 videos rather than only 5 videos on this topic. If being a fellow content creator, you see the advantage there. But also it makes it more palatable, makes it more digestible, rather than hitting people over the head with NT talk. And NT is a intuitive thinking, which is not everybody's bag. Not everyone is into this philosophy BS. But ladies and gentlemen, everybody is into feeling at ease, feeling peace because they can concentrate, and being able to be productive because they can concentrate. And as a result of their productivity, they feel better about themselves. They have better self-image, self-identity. They can live a longer life. They don't have chronic stress. Everyone is into that, and everyone can understand that, hey, look, next time, just like Amethyst, focus on what your body is doing. It's feeling numb. Focus on what your breathing is doing. And there is the reason why you're reaching for the phone. It's not the phone that's doing it to you. It is you.
in the den of iniquity. Vicinity no pretty, calamity fi hit we any moment. What's a pity? Tomorrow never certain. What draws behind the curtain? The face of evil lurking with that shifty eyes averting. It's not a steady bubble, could either pop or topple. Many will fall and stumble. Let the dozers gather rubble. From LA to Colorado, Guinea to Burkina Faso. Cannons could reach the towers and the troops will storm the castle. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. So run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. I say, run, run, come, make we get it. Because the peace that is bestowed upon the meek is overrated. Lord, run, run, come, make we get it. Calling all your daughters and your sons, we come forget it. With the rubble steady rising, and hearts are compromising. Convictions here are stifling, making evil appetizing. The fists are steady forming, and countenance is falling. Defenses are withdrawing, possibilities are falling. In these your circumstances, evil will make advances. Pick up your sword and lances, and be sure to take your stances. Victory is never promised, the battle is upon us. Gather the brave and honest, and the righteous in your corners.